Hey guys, this is Hector from the Insert Name FC podcast, here to tell you guys about Canada Dips. It is a great tasting, superior alternative to traditional dip using CBD in a way that is radical, enjoyable, and effective. It comes in 5 core flavors: wintergreen, mint, citrus, mango, and American spice. Canada Dip CBD is the new evolution in dip, allowing guys to enjoy great, long-lasting taste without the downsides. If you guys want to go ahead and try them out, use the code BellyUp20 at CanadaDipCBD.com. Once again, BellyUp20 at CanadaDipCBD.com, and you'll get yourself 20% off your purchase. Thank you again for Canada Dips for being a great partner of BellyUpSports.
CONMEBOL needs a lot of work done to both their refereeing and organizational skills. You and I were texting prior to the finals debacle, and I sent you a text saying this might be the worst organized game I've ever seen. We can take that a little further because part of organization is getting quality refs. I think it even goes into that as well. So top to bottom, getting fans in the stadium, keeping fans protected, and then keeping players protected on the field. And on top of that, the grass. But, that's a different conversation. Just organizational in general for CONMEBOL needed a lot better quality. And so that's my number one takeaway, because that was awful. Like, that was a lot of talent on the field, just that got the light didn't shine on the field like it was supposed to. It shined on all the other issues that were around the field.
Yeah, no, you're right. I think obviously going to the refereeing, I had a lot of issues with the officiating and of how these matches went out. I think obviously CONMEBOL, if people that aren't really familiar with it, is a lot more physical when it comes to that kind of football, especially a lot of these South American, I would even say Latin American based teams. Sometimes quality is not something that you're going to get as far as passing and technique and technicality. So some teams have to play a little bit more physical to kind of get what they want. Essentially, it's just a continent full of Gattusos is which we're talking about. And I mean, I understand it. I mean, El Salvador is also known for throwing elbows from time to time. But you do what you need to do to at least weaken your opponent so where you can somehow match in some technical aspect. So, and I mean, some people I know have this illusion that Argentine football is this beautiful passing tiki. Nope. It's not that. It's the ugliest form of football of all time, and I respect it. And so I just wanted to point that out. Like it is a lot more physical. I grew up in this kind of style. I grew up watching this kind of style. I know that the Euro is beautiful technical football, but this is what I'm more familiar with. The fan bases are more intense. I will say I'm very biased, but Latin soccer fans are more intense than European. I don't come at me. I know for a fact, as in El Salvador, we fucking throw bags of piss at players. So don't tell me that you guys match our intensity. It's a fucking gang war. Yeah. If you go into bro, there's a city in Mexico, Monterrey, has 2 of the biggest teams in the world. You could just be caught in the wrong street wearing the wrong jersey, and we're not even talking about a game. We're talking about just being at the wrong place at the wrong time, wearing the wrong fucking jersey. And so I'm just saying the intensity in Latin America, I will say, is by far more intense than anything else. And unfortunately, CONMEBOL, and there's going to be those Euro guys that are going to be trying to say that America did a poor job, which I do agree. I think the U.S. needs to have been more prepared. But this is why it was great to have the Copa America, is to, all right, now we know. Now we know what needs to get better, because I didn't view this as we were going to do a really solid job. But I did think that we're going to take lessons from this and apply it. And I mean, FIFA is going to be more on top of it than CONMEBOL is. I mean, let's be honest, CONMEBOL is not necessarily the standard of confederations. So
yeah, no, it is. You're exactly right. And when I'm talking about the organization side, it is definitely down to the CONMEBOL side of things, because when you get down to it, it really is like, yes, the CONCACAF nations were involved. Yes, it was held in the U.S., but it was actually put together by CONMEBOL. It is every single time, no matter where it's played at. And so down to decision makings for staffing, decision makings for ticket prices, all of that is CONMEBOL regulated. And so that's always worth mentioning here is that all the issues for fans were down to lack of security being paid for by CONMEBOL at these stadiums, which is something to consider when you talk about the U.S., Mexico, Canada paying for the World Cup in 26. But it does shine some light on some potential issues for when the entire world is coming to the U.S. in 2 years. That's a little nerve wracking. And you mentioned Gattuso, by the way. It's a whole continent full of Gattusos. I'll add in it's a whole continent full of Gattusos, and it's fitting you're wearing a Lakers jersey because the other half are a bunch of LeBrons in the way they flop. So I'll leave that alone though.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I've been actually talking to some people about basketball. Maybe if I get back on Corner Booth, I might mention my thoughts on as far as where my basketball fandom is going to go. But I will say this. This was for me. This was more of a. I guess you could say if you guys are fans of Bar Rescue, this was the stress test. You know, we saw how we did under the pressure. Clearly, we did not expect Colombians to be, going through events like it's what's that name of that movie? Shawshank. So like well, actually no, I kind of did see it coming.
I don't think I would have
But
ever
also
expected that at a
we
professional
host
stadium.
so many Mexican games.
Yeah,
People have tried. This isn't new that people try to sneak into games. It's happened shoot. It happens in concerts. I mean, what was it? Lollapalooza,
yeah.
notorious for people hopping fences to go to those concerts. I mean,
Carrying alcohol on the other side too, and then digging it out on the other side when they get
if
over it.
you're from Houston, people from Houston, you guys know how poorly Astroworld panned out from Travis Scott. So I mean, like, don't make it seem like it's just it's just once again people and Lollapalooza and I mean Astroworld. We haven't seen Astroworld in a while, but Lollapalooza is something that happens yearly, and we still have that same issue. I think it was just once again Colombians. I want to say I don't want to just say the Colombians. I think there were some Argentinians
No.
as well, but unfortunately there was just a lot of yellow that we saw from the footage. But they were attacking the gates, getting trying to sneak through the police and all that. And um, once again, I think when FIFA takes over, it's going to be a lot stricter. It's going to be more secured. Um, so I don't necessarily worry too much about the World Cup. The grass issue, CONMEBOL, if they really wanted to, they could have. They could
Yeah,
have told the U.S. we need to get this going before we have Copa America. They didn't, and
yeah. Waited too long. Way too long.
yeah.
And
So
it's all organizational processing for it. It's in the weeds when you talk about the what was on the field, but like at the same time, it's part of what puts on a good event. So for me, that's why I'm like organizational needs needed to be met earlier or
and
more
also
prominently.
no offense to the MLS fans, but no one wants a Copa America match in freaking FC Cincinnati Stadium or
Well, I don't know.
in
Actually, out of all the stadiums, that might be one I wouldn't mind in.
I mean attendance base. Like
Yeah, okay,
because
yeah.
CONMEBOL isn't
20,000.
CONMEBOL is not gonna win much money. If
Yeah,
anything, those ticket prices are gonna be
yeah,
a lot more higher than it already was. Uh, but like I said, I totally get it. I think for at least for U.S. soccer, there's a we know where our floor is because I don't think there's a lot of positive to take from Copa America. So we at least have a better idea. You still have 2 years to prepare the stadiums to be up to FIFA standard, and do the proper security measurements. Um, I would probably say like I'm trying to think of how it was done in other places, but I feel like if you have like maybe another check-in point for tickets
yeah.
instead of near
So
the stadium.
they did this in the Euro Cup, Euro finals, UEFA Champions League finals. I think it was what 2 years
Also,
ago.
before you get to your point, Kelcey, UEFA, like let's not pretend what happened
Yeah,
with the Liverpool Real Madrid final.
there it is. Thank you.
Let's
Yeah,
let's
that's exactly where I was
get
going to.
off
They had
get off your
multiple checkpoints.
so Europe, get off your fucking high horse. Like that happens.
Yeah, no, and that's exactly the game I was going to talk about because they had like 3 checkpoints you had to go through and show your tickets, but it still caused an hour. I believe it was an hour delay to get into the French stadium. Was it Parc des Princes? I think is where it was at. And so, yeah,
Hmm.
I mean, that alone it just shows you it can work. The problem is you got to open the gates earlier so people will start going through 3 checkpoints earlier so they can actually get in the stadium in time. And yeah, that's a whole nother issue. But yeah, there's ways to do it. Obviously, you see in the NFL every Sunday in the fall, but they'll figure it out.